I'm Patrick Mills, quest designer at CD Projekt Red, and this is I Know Your Game.
In 2077, they voted my city the worst place to live in America. Main issues: sky-high rate of violence, and more people living below the poverty line than anywhere else.
Erzähl uns doch zunächst, was wir in der Demo zu Cyberpunk 2077 sehen konnten.
Well, what you can see in that is we have sort of two missions and the space between the missions. The first one we sort of start in media res, just already in progress, and that's rescuing a woman named Sandra Dorset from these scavengers who are harvesting people for their body parts. And then after that, there's a moment where V and her partner Jackie, who are both street mercenaries, meet with their new contact, their new fixer, Dexter Deshawn. Dexter Deshawn gives them the new job to recover a piece of stolen merchandise from the mega corporation Militech. And then, of course, you go to recover the piece of stolen property from this gang called Maelstrom, and things go south.
Kannst du uns etwas zur Entwicklung der komplexen Welt von Cyberpunk 2077 erzählen?
It's interesting developing this world because it's adapted from Cyberpunk 2020, which was a pen and paper game from the 80s and 90s, and it's actually been very interesting to try to adapt that to give the experience of playing 2020 but updating it for a modern audience. I was talking to Mike Pondsmith, who's the creator of Cyberpunk 2020, and it's very much like the experience of playing pen and paper in terms of adaptation, because for a pen and paper game, you take the source material and you adapt it to your play group. So you might change events here, you might change a character there. We've done something similar with 2077 in adapting 2020. The difference with this and The Witcher is that we have our own world that we're able to create and adapt in ways that we maybe were reluctant to do with The Witcher. Mostly with our main character, because Geralt was a character who had a history. There were things Geralt would or wouldn't do, and we knew that from reading the books. And in this case, we give you this sort of blank slate character. You'll bring your own views onto it, and you'll be able to pick and choose, how you want to handle things.
Wie unterscheiden sich die drei verschiedenen Spielweisen voneinander? Und gibt es andere Elemente, die das Spiel beeinflussen?
Our main three playstyles are defined by our fluid class system, which is solo, which is sort of the combat path, techie, and netrunner, which are hacking and modifying equipment and machinery and things like that. And the combination of those three playstyles sort of determines the gameplay path through the quest. But then there's also the story path in what you choose and how you decide to handle things. In the demo, I don't know which path you guys saw through the Maelstrom scene, but in that scene, you can choose to tell Maelstrom that the chip that you're about to give them has a virus from Militech. And if you don't tell them, or if you do tell them, that changes significantly what happens afterwards. And that's not based on a gameplay style, that's just based on how you want to play it.
Gibt es in vielen Situationen die Möglichkeit, einen gewaltlosen Weg einzuschlagen, beispielsweise durch das Bedrohen mit der Waffe?
In many scenes, that may be an option, just to take out your gun. I won't say that it's there in all scenes. If you're trying to romance someone, perhaps taking out your gun might not be the best way to do it. But certainly in a lot of scenes where you're dealing with hostile characters, there's a choice to just take out your gun and solve things the old-fashioned way.
Sind die Waffen vordefiniert oder zufallsgeneriert?
We're crafting our weapons. They'll all be designed by us. There won't be any kind of procedural. We tend not to use a lot of procedural technology. We like to give you a handcrafted experience, and that's what we're aiming to deliver here, including with the guns.
Wird es einen Multiplayer-Modus geben?
We have researched such a thing. At the moment, we're aiming to give a single-player experience, a single-player RPG experience at launch. Like I said, we have things in research, but we're not really ready to talk about those yet.
Liegt ein hoher Fokus auf dem Wiederspielwert?
Yeah, I think replayability is certainly something that you could get. When it comes to finding your path through the game, even more than replayability, because we're aiming on delivering a very long game. So I can understand if people might not want to replay something the length of Witcher 3. Really what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you a game that when you play it, you see different things than what your friend sees. And so then you talk about it and that generates discussions.
Das Spiel erscheint auf PC, PlayStation 4 und Xbox One, richtig?
Yes, those are the platforms we're launching with.
Kommt der Titel nächstes Jahr raus?
It's slated for when it's done.